Here.
Alan Taylor.
Here. Under old business, we have the appeal number,
What about the minute?
oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry, the minutes. Yep, forgot the minutes. My glasses aren't working right tonight. As every member of the board received the minutes of the last meeting by email, and would you entertain a motion to approve those as submitted?
So moved.
Second.
Any question? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye. Unanimous approval. Now, we'll move on to old business. Appeal 0324, Jamestown Drive. Do we have any current, Dobby, or status on that?
Wait, just a minute. If you're gonna talk, you've gotta be at a
Oh, yeah. This is
microphone.
public.
Can you sit up here in Steve's spot?
There you go. Is there a microphone there at the podium?
Yeah, but
The last I was there, it looked the same, but it's been a couple of days
Okay.
since I was there.
So as far as you've observed, there's been no progress as far as
Not that I could see.
removal or remediation from current, or the situation?
Not that I seen.
Okay. Do we have anyone here representing Nancy and Jeff?
Nancy's back there.
Okay, I don't, where is she?
Right there.
All right, Nancy, you want to bring us up to speed? You got anything to say about this? Yep, we have to swear you in. Would you state your name, address, please?
Nancy Horn, 2416 Jamestown Drive.
Okay, do you swear that the testimony and facts that you're giving us, to the best of your knowledge, is accurate?
I do.
All right. What's going on?
Okay, the guy that I gave y'all the statement from last month, the contractor, I've been in touch with him like daily. He was going to come tonight, but unfortunately he has a child in the hospital in Louisville who had surgery today. And I tried to call him not 15 or 20 minutes before I got here. He's still working on getting prices for the materials that he needs. One of them is that we have part of the back of our house, which is upstairs by the deck, where the deck was, is shingle sided, which is hard to find now. They don't make what was on our house. He has found something comparable to it, but he's trying to find out through my insurance agent if the insurance will cover it. But he's still working on a lot of prices for me. He thought that he would be able to be here tonight, like I said, and he was even going to try to send me a written statement to that effect, but I cannot get him to answer. But if he's in the hospital in Louisville, you know how hospitals are, you can't get a signal a lot of times. But I talked to him last night late, and I talked to him again this morning early, and he told me his son was having surgery today, which they did not know.
Well, I understand that complication, but I sure wish he would either come forth with some kind of written statement about that, or give us some evidence that he's trying as hard as he can to
Well, you know, I
make progress.
gave you the one last month.
I understand,
you know,
yes,
where he
yes.
had been there, and but he's been to my house several times since I was here, and just there's things that the insurance and he do not agree on, because he does have a copy of the adjuster's report. I was able to get that from my agent, and he has that. And matter of fact, my husband and I met with him, I think it was 2 weeks ago yesterday, and he told me some things on that report that he says this just doesn't make sense. And so that's why he's trying to, you know, get a hold of my agent to talk to.
Ms. Horn, has he submitted anything to your insurance company?
He can't without prices from,
Trying to get
for
material.
materials, you know. And I wish that we could haul the stuff off that's there, gladly. Matter of fact, when they had spring cleanup, I even thought about us putting some of that stuff out front. But a lot of the boards, especially from the deck, have nails in them. So you gotta really be careful with what you do. And, so anyway, but y'all don't want me to have it done any sooner than I wanna have it done, trust me.
No, our position is, because of the length of time that's transpired since the original citation, it's like we as a board are accountable to, okay, what are we doing to enforce the code? And that's kind of where we sit now. We're getting pressure as far as what the state has required us to do as a board.
Well, and the house does still have a tarp on it, so, that was done before I came to last month's
Nancy,
meeting.
I think your contractor's just gonna have to quote it the way he thinks it needs to be finished and fixed. You may be this time next month getting a response back, and the only way you're gonna get it is have your guy quote it the way he thinks he needs to fix it. I understand he can't get the shingles or the siding, but, whatever he can do, or put a number in there for where he thinks it's covered, and then turn it into your agent that was here last time. And if they're gonna tell you they're not gonna cover it, let them tell you they're not gonna cover that. Or if put the onus on them to say, we're not gonna pay for that.
Well, it's like they only want to replace a portion of the roof, and according to Daniel, who was here, wasn't here, but who I brought the statement from last month, there's other places in the roof that are not obvious from the ground, and he said, it's gonna have to all be replaced.
Well, he just needs to prepare a statement and delineate where they are differently in there that's maybe not on his report, and say, I found these as well, because my understanding was, the gentleman was here last time, that if we found additional things, that would just be
A part of
included,
it,
part of it, and they
yes.
would just issue another check to take care of it. But I think if we wait to ask them, then they're gonna have questions, and it'll be questions going back and forth forever. I think you need to be proactive and just.
Well, I even tried to call my agent, not 30 minutes before I got here today, and he was there, but he was with a client. And I tried it every day last week, and 2 days he was out of town. I went there. And then one day, he got back after 5 o'clock, so I couldn't see him then because his
But
office
their
was
response to
closed.
you is gonna be, we don't have anything to respond to.
Yeah.
Until you give them something in writing, they're just gonna say, I can't respond to it until you give them something. So your contractor is gonna have to come up with something and do it. If I was him, I'd prepare it to where I'm comfortable in what it is and let them say they are or are not gonna pay for that.
Well, he told me he would like to either meet with the adjuster or with my agent. He has questions, and I've given both of them permission to talk to him.
What is the current, balance of the citation fines that are pending?
The fine itself, it was a third, yes. It is whatever the contested amount is for the third offense. It does not accrue.
Oh,
Unless you as a board order the codes department to,
Well, we suspended the accumulation of those fines.
and the fines don't by nature accrue. They're set. Now, we've had the instances where you as a board have instituted daily fines.
Right.
And to do that, Dobby had to issue daily citations.
Right.
This particular one, as a contested citation, the fine at your discretion can be up to $750. Anywhere from 0 to 750, 750 being the max that you could, that you could assess for this.
Well, the reason I ask is, Nancy, you need to tell the contractor, look, I'm sitting here right now with pending fines. I'm not saying they're gonna be levied, but pending fines of $700, which are gonna get bigger. Somebody needs to do something.
Well, I haven't told him, but I have told my agent, and I have told the fellow at the home office in Connecticut that I said, I've been cited by the city. And I said, and this is exactly what I said, and if I have to pay him, you're gonna pay him. Because it's not my fault. Like I said,
If you're making an honest effort to do what's required, yeah, somebody's gonna be responsible, but
I told you I had 3 agents, or adjusters, that didn't even show up every time I went to meet them.
No.
And then the 4th one, when he finally did show up. And then it was, let's see, over 5 months before I heard from them. And the guy at the home office in Connecticut said, well, I haven't seen the report. I said, I know better than that. And then when I talked to him the next day, he said, oh, it was laying on my desk, and I guess I've overlooked it, but it hadn't been here long. He couldn't have been here long. Well, like I told you last month, my son that passed away, his birthday was August the 18th, and that's the day that the adjuster finally showed up, so I know what day he was there.
Well, the delay is going to be an additional expense, which I don't know what your policy reads, but somebody's going to be responsible for that fine amount in addition to the repair cost. Any other comments from the board, or what's the pleasure?
Yeah, I think we're just rehashing things that we've done the last 2 meetings. Nancy, you need to go ahead and get the ball rolling. That's why we kind of lightened up on the fines, but the ball needs to be rolling so that the fines can go away. And I know that you're having problems with these guys, but the contractor needs to start, show a good faith effort in starting. You know, he knows he's going to get some money out of it, but he needs to get the ball rolling, you know, or we're in a precarious situation here that we'll have to take action that will not be in your best interest.
Because you're holding a check, is that not correct?
I have one check that I have not cashed that will go towards the contractor. I've not done anything with it.
How did we,
I had
Leave
paid
the
the tree guy that
fines.
took the tree off my
We
house.
tabled action, and the fines have been, what's the legal term? They're not progressing, they've been
They've been held in abeyance.
They've been-
abeyance.
Yes,
Okay, at this point.
yes.
Well, you
I
know,
just don't think your insurance company's, if you're waiting for them, I mean, it can go, again, another month, and their first response is gonna be, we didn't have anything to answer. As soon as they give us something that says this is gonna cost one way or the other, the gentleman that was here last month said, basically, the way I understood it, was that you get us a number, and if it's above and beyond what they've allowed you, then they'll go ahead and
well,
cut you
that's
a
what,
check
like I
or
said, that's
do
what
it.
my contractor's
So
trying to do.
if I was him, I would just go ahead and figure out the way he needs to fix it, the way it needs, because you're asking an adjuster to come out there and on a site visit, not see every little thing that's in there. And if your contractor can prove that needs to be handled and it's under your insurance, then that seems pretty cut and dry to me.
these guys are going to play the game
Well-
forever.
They're gonna just,
I would be in favor of the board asking Miss Teresa to send a letter to Nancy and copy her insurance company stating something to the effect that we will proceed with actions that we need to take if positive actions are not taken in the next month.
Well, and what I'm gonna add to that, I agree.
That's fine.
I agree with what you said.
It wasn't in the form of a motion.
No,
I'm
no,
just
no,
throwing
I
that out.
understand,
Get
but
them some.
I think we ought to say, okay, there's $700 worth of fines that we have basically set on, but that's going to start accelerating if there are further delays in the remediation of the situation.
But if the contractor doesn't get them something,
Well, the contractor's gonna need to start doing something. That person's got to start. Most of the time in the insurance business, the times that I've dealt with them, you actually start the work, and a lot of times you have to submit the final bill, and then they will reimburse you for it. But does that sound like do you have anything you want to add to?
I do. Would
Okay.
the board deem it prudent to subpoena the contractor to come in for next month to see the holdup or what the progress might be? Or do we feel that that's just another spinning of the wheels?
But
I think
but
that's
like I
just
said,
another
he
moment.
intended to come tonight, but he is in Louisville with his
Oh,
child.
I understand
Yeah.
his situation, but I think we need to put some teeth maybe into this and say that if we see no progress at the next meeting, that we are going to institute additional fines on the delay of the citation being collected. And
I just
that-
think there has to be something moved along.
Well, we
I
gotta
mean,
have some teeth.
Well, we tried by subpoena.
The insurance guy,
The insurance
yeah.
guy, we thought that would,
Well, let me ask you this, and I don't know, before I been coming to these meetings, I never had any dealings with you people. I don't mean it that way. I mean on a business sense, okay? Because
Cause say you know all of us,
I was
Nancy.
gonna say, well, John and I used to be neighbors, you know. and
I'm sorry.
Well, and Alan and I used to go to church together, but anyway.
I'm sorry.
Do you ever delay it instead of the next meeting? Would you ever delay it like the meeting after that, like
No.
2 months instead of
No.
Well,
one?
No.
here's the problem. We've been sitting on, when was the original citation issued? 21, 22? Original. Our problem is, we by state, by KRS statute, have responsibility to enforce the codes. And this has been a lapse in enforcement of the codes. So we're kind of the go-between, I guess, between the law and the result of that. That's our obligation. If your neighbors came to this board right now and said, why haven't y'all done something about this? We would have to respond. Because we have a legal obligation to enforce the codes. And you're obviously in violation of the codes. I'm not accusing you personally of being in violation. Because of the circumstances, you're in violation. So we have to respond because of our obligation legally. Ashley, am I?
That's 100% correct.
Thank you.
Ms. Horn, you said earlier, am I correct in that you already received one check that you're
Yes.
still holding on to?
Yes.
You recall how long ago you got that?
I think the adjuster said January.
It was either January or February, because they sent us a letter prior to that that said enclosed is check for so much money, and it told and what it was for and everything, and there was no check in it. It was simply a letter, which I took to my agent and showed him, and he sent them a copy of it and said, why was there no money with it? You know? And anyway, they didn't have a good answer.
If it helps the board, my notes from last time reflect that Mr. Raver indicated that checks were in hand at the end of January.
In the January, okay.
But the one check I have paid the tree guy.
right.
Then there's additional, obviously, construction.
Yeah. But I paid the tree guy, was almost $10,000.
So this check that you're holding, did someone give an estimate to get that check, or was that just from what the adjusters?
That was from the adjuster. No one gave an estimate of anything. That strictly was from the adjuster.
With your understanding, they would end up going to the contractor for work.
Oh, I understand. I said I haven't
Okay,
cashed,
okay.
I haven't cashed that check,
Okay, but here's my concern.
because it's going to somebody other than us, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Okay, but here's my concern. If it goes back that far as January, you might need to check that check because it may have expired
I think it's a year.
a year.
I believe so.
Okay.
Read it over, it's typically 180 days, which
Yeah.
is 6 months, so you're
6
getting
months.
there.
Yeah, I know
Yeah.
some of them are.
Double check.
I will have to look, but,
So if so, you probably need to get it to that contractor so he can start on
yeah.
something.
Is it made to you or the contractor?
It's made to my husband and I because we didn't have a definite contractor at that time.
Because you deposited the check? Have you considered depositing the check because you're getting near that expiration time once you check?
If it's getting close to an expiration date, yes.
Okay,
I would just deposit right the contractor a check.
yeah.
I have one other question that's kind of beyond this, but is the contractor that she's going to use need to be licensed in the city?
Yes.
Okay. So I don't know. if
He
he's-
told me that he knows some of the people.
That doesn't get it.
No, wait a minute. Don't, Alan, don't. He knows who some of the people are. He doesn't say he knows you personally. And he showed me his license. He's bonded, insured. He's electrical certified. He showed me all of that. I saw all
Yeah,
of
there's
that.
just in the city of Henderson, there's gonna be a
I'm
contract
sure
to
he
provide a
knows
business
that.
license,
He
that
doesn't
kind of
live
stuff.
here.
I
He
just don't
actually-
want that to jump up and grab you at the end too.
He lives in Seabury.
He also has to have a contract registration.
Contract register,
That's true.
yeah.
And if he doesn't have one, he'll be held an admin hold until he gets it.
Contract registration.
It's not that expensive, you just, he just needs to know he has to have it, and instead of, if he needs to put that in his estimate.
I would like to
Don't wanna
propose,
start
I'd like,
all over again.
I'd like to propose to the board
She
that
had trouble getting one.
we make a motion that if substantial progress has not been made by the next meeting, that the fines will continue to accrue.
Chairman, Taylor,
Yes,
I think our council has.
okay.
May I have permission to ask you a question,
Absolutely.
Sheriff? Ms. Horn, what's the name of your contractor?
His name is Daniel Buchanan.
And do you know if he owns a company, has a company name, or is he a sole proprietor?
I do not, but let me see if I have.
Do you have his phone number, ma'am?
All he has is a cell number.
Can you provide that to me, please, ma'am?
Yeah, but let me see if I can. But he does have another business, so that's at night, not during the day. He has a restaurant at night. It's called Buchanan Contracting. Here's the paper I brought.
Buchanan?
Buchanan. Here's the paper I brought last month.
What's the number?
270-213-0508, and it does say licensed general contractor.
And that number was 270-213-0508?
Right.
And what is his address, ma'am?
It's a P.O. box in Seabury,
What is that?
592.
And is your insurance agent, who is that?
Eric Raber, A+.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Chairman.
Okay, would the city want to propose action that this board would consider?
Judge, I think at this point, on behalf of the city, what we'd like to do is to put some teeth in it, which the board's been talking about, table this for next week and come back and see where we are. Apparently, from my reviewing of this has been going on for some time, and it's the city's position that we want this fixed sooner than later, and if not, then we're prepared to move forward to take whatever action this board needs to take at that time.
I will
So
say,
moved.
oh, I can't say that while y'all.
Who is making this?
Wait a minute.
Who's making this motion?
I start to say I can't talk yet.
Hang on.
Repeat what he said, and I'll make that motion.
We're not laughing at you, okay?
That's okay, Alan, you've done it before.
Oh, well,
And so is John Stroud.
you had something to say. I'm sorry. We cut you off.
You made me forget.
Oh, okay,
I'll think of it.
okay. We need a motion that's worded in a way that accomplishes what he indicated. So, would somebody be real creative there? Maybe Ashley could speak this language for this legal speech,
Sure.
legalese.
I think if somebody wants to make a motion that Ms. Ford needs to provide proof of substantial progress being made by the next meeting, and if not, the substantial fines will increase, I think that would be an appropriate motion for the board to make.
And a letter of such, if we approve that, then could be sent to her and copied to the contractor, even the insurance
I think that's appropriate.
people. So that way everybody knows, look, if somebody doesn't do something here, there's gonna be consequences and somebody's gonna end up having to pay for all this.
Correct.
Does that make sense?
So moved.
Okay. Thank you, Ashley, and thank you, John. Do I have a second?
Second.
Lisa seconds the motion. Question. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
All right. It's unanimous. All right, Nancy, we'll see you next month.
And that's what date?
Oh.
Okay, so it's later in the month next time.
It's the 4th, Monday?
24th.
Thank you.
Had to be early this year, this month.
All right, thank you.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. If I have to get a hammer and nails and,
I'll get a hammer after somebody. Yeah.
The
All right.
owner can do it on their own.
Okay, under other old business, we have a request by Nolis on project line holding regarding a citation on Powell Street.
Chairman Taylor, I've included in your packet the information. Mr. Nolis had appealed a citation in January. The citation at that time had already defaulted to a default judgment.
Right.
That you all did hear him at January. I included in your packet the minutes of that meeting and a copy of the letter that was sent to Mr. Nolis after the meeting. I just wanted to remind you and also to let your new attorney kind of know the status.
So do we
This has
need,
been here
I
before,
guess-
so it's really not an appeal because there is nothing for him to appeal. But
okay,
he requested a hearing before you guys regarding the status of his project.
I guess that's what I was confused about because we had already taken action on the other one. Well, there was no action to be taken because the time had elapsed and,
The city has taken bids to complete the demolition.
okay.
And Mr. Nolis had spoken to Steve Davis, and he said that he would like to have a hearing before the board to discuss the status of this project. So it's a little different than your normal because it's not an appeal. But we want to err on the side of caution and make sure, just to give everybody their opportunity to be heard. So he did request to have this hearing to give you guys additional information.
okay. I'm confused.
There's no action that can be taken.
Well, I know, but so what would be the function or the purpose of a hearing before this board? If we've already made a matter of record on the action and it's kind of done. I don't know if we have the authority. What authority do we have to hear an appeal after the fact, I guess?
Is the
Can
whole
you call
building
him
been
up and
torn
ask him
down?
why he feels
You
like?
have the,
I'm right here.
Just
we
like-
know.
yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Nolis has the opportunity to speak at a public
Oh,
hearing.
wait, I'd love to hear,
And that's what he wants to do.
Okay.
I'm not sure between your attorney and ours.
Well, that's
what
why
you can
I'm
actually
wondering what
physically
legal
do.
authority we have.
I don't know that it's a mandatory, it's not a hearing. I think that the board has the discretion and should hear him on his updates,
Okay.
but I don't know that the board will necessarily need to take any type of action
Okay.
on it.
Well, and we're glad to have any citizen come before us, and this is the process that you can appeal. This is the board you appeal to, and so be happy to hear you.
I think, because I think last time we had the meeting, and it was an argument between the safety of the building and the back port and the back part. Y'all probably don't remember.
And this is the
We
Powell
did.
Street.
Yeah, we remember.
Yes, we
yeah.
remember.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah, you
Okay,
wanted
this is the
to
back. Yeah,
leave
this is the back
back.
part. Right.
This
This
is
is the
a-
back part we're talking about, like we talked during the first
You were
time.
online?
Yes,
Yeah,
I was
Zoom.
online.
Yeah.
But now I'm here.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
I'm here. Yeah, and this was like, that's what we was arguing, and there was never a real given answer for the back part because it was like,
Yeah, there was an answer given. It has to come down the same as the other, and the other fell down 2 days later.
Really?
Oh.
Okay.
that was given for, what was the reason? There was never a reason for it to come down because all the contractors that we had approve of it and said it's fine, it is past inspection.
The contractors have nothing to do with the actions that this board takes.
Right,
This board takes actions on things that are brought to us
right.
that are in disrepair, that are in danger
Violation.
of falling and in the
Right.
violation. And that's the action that this board
Right, they
takes.
took the action on that part because of the dangerous that it was in that part, And then we had a whole nother argument, like what, with the back part, like there ain't no dangers to it, it could be built onto it, everything else, it made no sense at all.
Okay.
Is the whole building torn down
I got
now?
pictures for you, you wanna see it?
If you show them, then you'll have to leave them as evidence.
They could have them, we got more.
Okay, I just wanted you to be aware of that.
Oh yeah, we got more.
Okay.
So, the subject we're talking about, the property we're talking about, Dobby, is the,
She has to come
She
in.
has to come to the mic.
can you come to
Or
the,
come sit by Teresa.
If
sit,
y'all don't know what y'all looking at, just ask me.
okay, well, I'm gonna ask her,
Okay.
is what we're gonna be looking at here, is it in violation of the current codes per se?
Yes.
That's all I need to know.
It's in violation of the order for demolition citation. Because that said, raise and remove all structures.
And the back part was obviously a part of the existing structure.
It was added to different, it was added.
Yeah, but but it was still a part of the same building, even
It
though
had two different addresses.
it had two different
Yes, it
addresses.
did. And that's what I was sharing the whole time.
But it had a Powell Street address also, correct?
The front part was a Powell Street, different address, and the back part was different address.
Yeah,
It's
but they
two
were
different
both
addresses.
Powell Street addresses, is that correct?
One of them, I can't recall if both of them was Powell Street, but I know they both
Yeah.
had their own different addresses.
So you're listed as 1400 and 1404
Yeah.
Wall Street.
So there can be no separate address on the side street. They're both
Because it
Powell
was,
Street addresses.
It was built different, and I think the backside was an add-on to it.
It was?
Yeah, so I think that's when they had a different address.
So this is what he wants.
And we took out the front part, but the back part is the thing we arguing, and I talked to Davis, and we talked to two contractors, they approve it. This is, John, two contracts we talked to was Bill Majors and John Logan. Both of them in Henderson, y'all pretty much know them. They experts, that's what they do.
Is that our copy too?
What is it? Yeah, that's the contractors, that
I
was
know.
from.
Can we keep that? as
Oh,
well?
yeah, y'all could keep that. And it was like, there ain't no point in tearing down. And the only violation that I know that we are into right now is just the roof. He said, once we put a roof on it, then there shouldn't be no violation. That's the only violation that we have against
You'll have
codes
to
right
ask
now.
him.
And we done put a lot of money into it, we done clean up the place, everything else after it fell. That's the new pictures, there ain't no danger to nobody
Okay,
or nothing.
all right, thank you. Dobby, if they put a roof on it,
She's gotta come in.
But she
you need to
can't,
come back up to the microphone.
she can't testify to, you need a structural engineer or
Okay,
I wasn't there during that conversation, if that was a conversation. I was there during a conversation with Steve and him at the office, and putting a roof on and letting it go was not brought up as Steve saying, yeah, it's good. He'd say he had to talk to somebody else, and that's why he came down here.
Steve talks to Major, he called him personally up, so Steve, if he was here, he could answer that. He knows both contractors, and he talked to them on the phone.
no, we don't even need that one, that's a different place.
There's
That is too.
citation.
so let's cut to the chase.
Right.
You're here appealing the decision we made back in, what was it, January?
But he can't.
No, he,
Well, I know. So we made the decision. But you're here to appeal that decision we've already made.
I'm not here to appeal. Y'all made the decision. When the board first brought it, they were saying the front part is unsafe. And I told them in the beginning it was two different addresses. And the only thing that they had on their side that was unsafe was the first part. That was the only thing that they had that was unsafe. And I'm like, okay, it's two different addresses.
Well,
It's
but
the
our
second
problem
part.
is the language of the code. The
Right.
code requires that, even though it's an addition,
Right.
the code required all of it together as a unit has to be addressed.
Right,
And
it
that
was addressed.
that was the basis of our
But
decision.
when we
I
had
think.
this discussion was like, okay, what's wrong
Okay.
with the back part? Nobody says anything was wrong with the back part. Nobody could answer that question.
But
It's part of the same structure.
No, it's two different structure because it was added on.
But it's, I
was,
think
But is it
somewhere,
the same
But it
address?
had the same roof.
it was
Yes.
added
I think,
on.
I think no. I think it was added on, and they roof was kind of split. So something they split it when they added on because it was added on later on.
It was added on for storage for the East End, what was it called? The East End, hardware store.
let me throw this out. What if he goes back with the plans that he has to roof what's there and gets approval from codes for that? Is that a process? Is that possible?
That's a process he would have to go through. It may be sitting on the public right of way at this point in time. I don't know where the right of way is out there. It would have to be analyzed by a structural engineer, not a bricklayer or block layer. And I
Well, that's
know
why I'm
Mr.
asking,
Majors-
going back through the codes.
That's the problem you run into. The contractors may come out there and go, that's not their jurisdiction. They don't make that call. That's Steve Davis's call. And at that point, he looks at it and he has to say, if that building, somebody came up to it now and say, and you're wanting to add on to it, put another roof onto it, whatever it is, somebody that's a design professional is gonna have
But
to.
Steve Davis, I told you, Steve Davis talked to them. He's personally talked to them.
Yeah.
To the
Yes.
contract.
To the
Yes,
contractor.
yes, personally talked to them. I'm not. Yeah, if he was here, he would tell you he personally talked to them.
Okay. Yeah, but.
We had like 3 meetings with him before, so
Yeah.
he talked to us,
but-
and he's the one who's telling us what we need to do to be up to code. That's how we know all this.
Oh, he's instructing you
Oh,
on
right.
that.
He's telling us like what they're looking for and what we need to do.
His son's in the hospital.
And what did he tell you?
He said right now it's just a roof. He's like, y'all don't have roof on it. That's the main issue.
So he's saying it meets code standards if it's roofed. Is that what you're saying?
Right. In his roof, and he said we also have to get it inspected. He did say that too.
Yeah. Typically, what you would have to do on that, when it was an older existing, somebody, if it's a structural engineer, whatever, would have to go in and look at that, not your
Right.
contractors.
No, he did say we have to get it inspected.
Somebody's going to come in and look at it and see how it meets current building codes, because it has to meet, and what would have to be done to bring it up to current building codes. And then
Right.
there would have to be some kind of drawings done. He
Right.
would have to sign off on
Yeah.
them, say they're okay.
Right. He said that.
And somebody would, okay.
Because he gave us the drawing to the people that they used. I forgot the guy's name. He gave us the number for the drawing and everything. He gave us a couple.
I mean, that's a process you have to go to, whether that ship has sailed for the rest of the building now or not, that's a different issue.
I don't
Or is there contractors coming up and saying, well, it's fine.
see, I
That
don't
won't
see
work.
that we can take any action at all as a board. We've already taken legal action. I say the remedy for this is for you to apply again with the codes department on what you've got or what you want to do. If they sign off on it, it meets code, you're good to go.
So who's signing off? Is it Steve who's signing off? Who's
The
signing
codes
off?
department will have to officially give you the yes or no.
Okay, so once we meet the code, so we have to basically tell Steve we gotta meet the codes, and then he signs off on it.
And the
like
things
this.
that Tim just described are gonna have to be a part of that approval.
Right.
It's, from the building itself, it's under the codes official's jurisdiction. If it's under a certain size, and your occupant load is under a certain size, that it can stay local. Well, if it meets those requirements, then it's actually Steve Davis's call on the structure itself. It's not his call as far as demolishing the building, but he will say, if you want to keep that, I don't know how much that you want
Right.
to keep.
That's what he's being saying. If you
But, you
wanna
know,
keep that.
those
this
block
is-
walls, if we had to build those today, and I doubt that they have it in there, but they would be full of rebar to meet earthquake codes. I mean, if you had to build that from new, that's what you would have to do. You couldn't just lay up a block wall. And so there's some of that stuff can be addressed and taken care of without having to take it down, but you may have to add something to that building when you go over it. So that's where structural engineer is gonna tell you.
Right, I mean, that's where the professionals come in. We're gonna use
That's right.
professionals to do it.
And so when
Licensed
you talk to that
professionals, so if they're
person-
professionals, they should know what they're doing.
And that's right, and that person's gonna tell you, here's what you're gonna have to do to meet the codes.
Right.
And then you make a determination whether you wanna spend the money to do that or not.
Right, that's what I'm saying, because he also say, is either we meet the codes or we tear it all the way down. I mean,
But that's
what I'm
beyond, that's
saying.
beyond the authority of our board. We-
Yeah,
we-
that's,
I
we-
think
that's
I'm-
Steve Davis'
I
question.
think I'm struggling right now, and I'm gonna look over here at two attorneys. The, everything has gone and it's supposed to be gone.
Correct. In January, this board actually voted that, and it was determined that the final order could not be overturned. The entire structure at 1400 and 1404 at Powell Street must be demolished. That he was to obtain a demolition permit within 1 week and complete the work, including the asbestos removal. And that if a permit had not been issued by the end of business on Monday, January 29th, the city would begin the process of taking bids for removal of notice of asbestos and the demolition of the structure. So even having all of what we're listening to today, the board has really no authority to be able to make any other determinations right now.
So his next stop would be circuit court or something?
Yes.
That
Which
may-
I,
Well,
he might
That may
be,
have lapsed.
he might be past that,
Past
that
that
ship might
time,
have
too.
sailed.
Because at present time, he is not appealing the appeal, because the action has been done.
That's
Okay.
correct.
So what, and you said that you want to give us a quote-unquote update. Well, in all honesty, by what our attorney just read, the update that she just read, and what you're gonna say to us, you're already in violation.
Right.
Because am I right that presently by what we just looked at, it's in code violation? It's not up to code. And what you just read acknowledges the fact that what should have been done from the last action hasn't been done.
Correct. And the city can charge an
Right.
abatement fee for
So-
taking care of this.
She
So
said
we
they
have
sent
no-
us a letter. What letter? I never received that letter saying that both addresses, I mean, I never received that letter.
It was sent at 1425 Clay Street to you, as well as to your email at projectlanesholding@gmail.com.
For both of them, with both addresses on them?
Both addresses are on this letter, yes, sir.
Here's a copy. It was sent to
Do you have a
Florida.
comment?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The city adopts and incorporates by reference the same statement as Ms. Hampton made on behalf of the events that a final default judgment order was entered. Time to appeal expired, and that the default judgment order is final, and that the city, I believe they are in the process of releasing bids to have this property raised, and would like to continue to do so as there's nothing left for Mr. Nolis to appeal. And, furthermore, he talks about this being two different addresses. It's a connected structure. It lists two addresses on the order of appeal citation. We think this is a moot point, that the city should be able to proceed to release its bids in order to have this raised.
But it also has said, like, we had days to get the permits, and once we do that, we still have that option to, if we want to demo it ourselves or through the city, and then it had fell in, and we did all the work and everything else, and the only concern was with the back part. So that was talked in the last meeting, because we had so many, we had a
No,
week to.
The
to
back
do
part
it.
was never argued that it was gonna stay.
No, I'm talking about for our permit.
Permit for what?
Right, for the
Demolition
building,
permit.
instead of the city doing it, we also had that choice of a week for us to do it.
You had
As
one
long
week.
as we had
Did
a-
you get the permit within 1 week?
As long as we had the permit. No, the building had fell in, so we didn't have to get a permit. So we talked to David, like, hey, start cleaning up, so that's what we did, and we applied for the permit.
Actually, you would have had to gotten the permit even if it fell down.
No matter what.
Right.
Correct.
The constructor, I think they talked to David to get a permit and everything else, so.
Go ahead.
So, but I know they got a permit, I know they filed in one for a permit, I know they did
Mr.
that.
Ellis did submit a permit application because of money that is due to the city for back taxes owned by, or for properties owned by Project Line Holdings, other delinquent balances, and code enforcement liens, he was unable to obtain the permit because of administrative hold.
But we had another contractor to do it, since y'all said we couldn't do it, and they was like,
It was done without a permit.
so the contractors
Another
then had the
violation.
things
The
to
first
do
part
it.
of, the
You
first
know,
part was
I
done.
apologize to you, but there's nothing, we have absolutely no authority as a board to act in any way. There's nothing we can do for you at this point.
Well, we appreciate you coming up.
And we always want to hear what the public's got to say. It's, you know, that's why we're here. Thank you.
All right.
Bobby, can you recommend the bid for Henderson? It should have been in practice.
You gotta be
Question.
you gotta be on record.
What is the bid? Because we still always had that option instead of the thing, like, that's what I'm saying, like, we still had that option in our last meeting. Because the only thing we had to do was get the permit, and they said we couldn't get it, so we had another contractor apply for it.
There was never a permit issued for the demolition.
Yeah, because we didn't have to,
Yes, you
because
did.
it fell in.
But that's, the letter stated
In
that
bold, yes.
in bold, and Ms. Hampton, the board's attorney, read what it said,
Right.
that the entire, a demolition permit had to be obtained within 1 week,
1 week.
and then the structure, the entire structure had to be removed. It has not. If those things were not done, the city of Henderson would take bids from contractors to complete the demolition. and
But
that
the
is-
contractors call in to do it before it's fell in.
I'm a little
The one
confused in
we-
that.
It still requires a permit.
And
Right, that's what I'm saying, it still required a permit, but it had fell in, and then they required the permit, and they was like, David was like cleaning up, and it was cleaned up. But he was like, y'all still have to, the contractor still gotta submit the permit to him.
We're just going around and around here, and I've already stated, this board has absolutely no authority to act.
Because the building is ready down, we're just trying to figure out if we could keep the backside or not. I mean, the whole building is ready
The
down.
answer is no, you cannot keep the
Hey,
backside.
okay. I guess the answer is no.
Because I was
So for us to
confused
keep it,
about
we have to
this.
take a legal action, right?
Yes.
That would be your next step.
Okay.
Unless it's too long, too late.
It is, but you can file it.
Thank you.
Alright.
Does the board need some?
There ain't no building there. It's 4 walls.
It's a structure.
Pardon me, I'm
It's 4
sorry.
walls. There ain't no
We need
building there.
authority to
It's a
release our bid.
structure.
Yeah, it's still it's structure. That's all. There ain't no building
I
there.
think we granted that authority.
In January.
In
So
January.
we can release our bid.
As far as our action as a board, that was a legal and binding decision that we gave. Is that actually, am I,
That's correct.
okay?
So you will receive a notice of the date that our winning contractor will be there to complete the
He
demolition.
sent. They had sent a letter. They had sent a letter, and the letter was like, I forgot what David said. The letter said they had resent a letter, and it was like, okay, is the 4 walls are coming down or they not? Because that's what it is. It's just 4 walls. There ain't nothing to give. Everything is pretty much destroyed. It's just the 4 walls. Are they coming down? That's it.
Well, we have taken bids on that, and we will send you a notice as to when the contractor will be there to remove the walls and the rest of the concrete.
I would like to enter something into the record. I know he's left, but I think there was asbestos
Yes.
inside the existing building,
The state is working with that.
which was not abated
Correct.
correctly. I just don't want the city to get caught.
The state is already well aware of that, and
Okay.
they are taking their actions
Against them.
against.
Gotcha. Thank you. That was
All right.
my question.
All right, I see no other old business that we need to address. Do we have a code enforcement report?
Yes, you did.
Gotta go to the microphone.
Got to get you on record.
You picked a fun one.
We have 14 withdrawals and we had 49 citations that were uncontested.
Weeds aren't growing up on anybody's property, right? I'm being sarcastic.
You can believe that if you want.
All right. Anything else? Thank you for the report. Is there any other new business that this board needs to deal with? If there is none, we stand adjourned.
Do we have to vote on that?
No, I'm the
can if you
chairman. I'm
want
the
to.
chairman and I'm adjourning the meeting.
And no,
Ashley, can I do that?
no further discussion.